day. My name is SchoemanLaw Inc, and I'm an attorney, conveyancer, notary public, and mediator. I practice as such here at SchoemanLaw Inc, based in Cape Town, South Africa, where we proudly serve the legal needs of the entrepreneur. In today's episode, we'll be unpacking some of the basic building blocks required in your quest to become BBBEE or broad-based Black Economic Empowerment compliant. So without any further ado, firstly, there's no penalty for non-compliance. In other words, a penalty, I mean a fine or prison sentence or term. There's no such provision. There is, however, a form of an indirect penalty. An indirect penalty within the context that the more competitive the marketplace becomes, the more transformed the marketplace becomes in South Africa, the more those that have remained untransformed will find it difficult to do business, particularly with large corporates and with government. But with that being said, it's becoming equally competitive within the SME and small business space, and in many ways can actually facilitate a quicker scaling journey than it would have been without. So I think from a South African perspective, regardless of the penalty's existence or not, it's quite important to take this very seriously and to ensure that your compliance strategies are sound, authentic, and embody the spirit of the legislation. So, basic building blocks. Well, BE or BBBEE is a turnover-based requirement. In other words, your turnover or the size of your business dictates to what degree you need to comply or what you need to do in order to get enough points under which element in order to ensure that you are compliant or are compliant on a particular level. So the first band, if I may call it that, of compliance is your 0 to 10 million in turnover per annum, and that is your exempt micro enterprise level, or EME. The second one is 10 to 50 million, and that is your qualifying small enterprise or QSE level, and the last is your generic, which is over 50 million in annual turnover. So these three bands dictate how many of the elements you need to comply with, and we'll get to the elements in a moment, and how many points you need to collect in order to become a certain level of a BE contributor. Importantly though, there is no one set of rules for all industries. So of course the generic codes, which are published in terms of the regulations of the BEE Act, apply to most businesses. However, there are select sectors that have their own codes that are promulgated in terms of the regulations. For example, agriculture, ICT or information communication technology, mining, construction. Those are only a handful, but there are many of them. Full list is available on the DTI's website. Or, of course, feel free to contact us for more information. So in terms of continuing our discussion of the basic building blocks, first point is, let's deal with the ownership component first. The ownership component means that you collect points on the basis of how many Black owners you have in your business. That could be shareholders or partners, but it needs to be someone who would also benefit from the business in terms of decision making as well as from profit sharing. So Black, I think we need to deal with in this sense is not specific to one specific designation or racial group in South Africa. It's actually the easiest way to explain the term as it's defined in the Act is to say that all races in South Africa, except for the European white or European race, is covered by this and you'll collect points for. Of course, it's an oversimplification of the definition because there are aspects to consider regarding foreign nationals that became citizens shortly after 1994, and there are regulations for that. So if you have any questions, please post them. We'll most certainly address them as we get to it. So back to our requirements. EMEs have the lightest compliance burden of all of us. If you're an EME and you haven't done anything towards compliance, you're automatically a level 4 contributor. You can sign the prescribed affidavit available on the DTI's website, and you've got your compliance in order. If you have any black ownership, though, over an amount of 51% or 100%, you can then qualify as a level 2 in the case of 51%, and in the case of the 100% ownership, a level 1. Again, an affidavit that you sign, no further compliance measures needed. Then, of course, the QSE level, in other words, that 10 to 50 million level. There are 5 components of compliance which I'm briefly going to deal with. We'll unpack them a little more in further videos, but those 5 aspects are as follows: ownership, management, enterprise and supplier development, skills development, and corporate social investment. Those are your 5 elements that you are scored on. As a QSE, you may select 4 of these 5 elements to comply with, but ownership is compulsory. So actually, you only have 3 elements of choice left. Furthermore, we have priority elements in terms of the regulations, which are skills development, enterprise supplier development, and ownership. So ownership is compulsory, and it means that of the 3 choices you have to choose either supplier enterprise development or skills development as one of your 3 choices. Once you've made your selection, there is a fairly complicated calculation and verification process that will follow. However, again, if you have 51% black ownership, you qualify automatically as a level 2, and if you have 100% black ownership, automatically as a level 1. Of course, again, all my percentages that I've mentioned in both levels are based on the generic codes and not on industry-specific ones. So that again means, from a QSE's perspective, you can simply sign that affidavit that is published by the DTI. And of course, talking about compliance on all 4 or all 5 levels is a very lengthy discussion, which we'll start unpacking in future videos. Thank you for joining me today. Please note that we also run a pioneering online platform where both the generic QSE and EME affidavits are freely available, no charge. Registration is also completely free for you to use and benefit from. So if you're concerned about where on the DTI website to find these 2, feel free to navigate to www.SchoemanLaw.co.za or directly to the portal www.SchoemanLaw.com. Our website is also filled with useful information, podcasts, videos like this, as well as articles on a range of topics that may affect entrepreneurs. Feel free to use the resource and to empower yourself with the knowledge it holds. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again. We hope to connect soon.